Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. I have behind me the Uranium Daily Technical Analysis Update. And Uranium, I think we're going to have a little bit of a pullback here potentially, but I don't think it's going to be a big pullback. So sideways, maybe a little bit lower downward. I don't think we're going to have this big blow-off sell-off, but we'll see. We'll see. I can show you in the charts what I'm talking about, and we can draw on the lines and see where our resistance support lines are. So let's do that right now. Again, this is just my financial opinion. Please don't take it as advice, and we'll dive in and get this thing going. So here we go. We got the price of uranium, 48.85 is what I've got. Looks fantastic. Everything looks good from a long-term perspective. And I'm looking at some of these from a long-term perspective here. Here is our uranium chart. So if you come from here, draw this guy in. We did not close above this trend line on the weekly candlestick. We came up and then sold back off. Will we break this? We'll find out next week if we're going to break it. It's going to be a fun week. We're right there at the line. And let's look at some of the daily. So here's the daily chart on URNM. Now we pull back a little bit. And we have a wick at the bottom. The wick at the bottom means that we came down, we sold off, and then we got bought back up. We closed here, or we opened here, closed here, and throughout the day, we traded down and then came back up. We could have the momentum coming up for next week, which means we're going to take a run at it again. That's what that wick is on the bottom. So let's see what happens next week. This is going to be a fun one. CCJ's got a similar pattern. We're just coming up into resistance, sold off a little bit. It's not a huge sell-off, so let's see if the buyers step in. And we're seeing that across the line. If I were to draw on a trend line here, this is on the dailies. I mean, we're right there, guys. We're right there trying to break, and you're seeing the lows step up into it. And if we put a low in here, it's going to be nice to see if we can try to break. And if we break this line, what that means is we may go into a steeper uptrend line where we break out and start to move even at a faster rate. Fission uranium, similar pattern, but this one, if you notice, this one's kind of already cleared its resistance area here. And it kind of broke through there, came back and did a retest. So this one looks pretty good to move on higher. Sky Harbor, we got these little wicks at the bottom. It still looks good. Man, another wick at the bottom. Small sell-off, wick at the bottom. Could be a reversal to try to break next week. Looks good. Base load, it's finding a little bit of footing. Just needs to turn around and go in the other direction. Here's standard uranium. Again, we got a line coming through here that it kind of used as support, but we're coming on up. I wouldn't be doing anything with my shares, guys. Just hold on to this stuff. Platinum, or Pure Point uranium, nice little wick at the bottom. I think we could try to move on higher in most of these companies. Small sell-off here. Nothing to worry about. I think the buyers are still in control. We're just waiting for the money, the dump truck full of money, of cash to come in here and buy shares up. And they usually buy it in the beginning of the week, so be curious to see what Monday brings us. Denison Mines, a little bit of a down day with the wick at the bottom, still looks good. Everything's intact. I don't think we're going to see a huge sell-off. We have these little wicks at the bottom here. And we're seeing it across the board. Let me see what the trend line looks like here. And ooh, something like that. You could probably draw it like this there too. One of those. We just got to break through it. We're getting there. Small sell-offs, little wicks at the bottom. Nothing to worry about yet. And Uroy, just a small little down days with wicks at the bottom. Monday could be a big day. It really could. URG, wick at the bottom, same thing. Encore, a little bit of a stronger sell-off here for today, but still doesn't look bad. Still looks fine. And Bannerman looks good with the wick at the bottom. It's just coming up, and buyers are buying it back up throughout the day. Man, if buyers come in here, this is going to be a fun one. We're going to see a big update or something next week, probably. Deep yellow looks good. Nothing too worrisome. Not Forces metals. That's a little bit of a sell-off, a little wick at the bottom here. This looks good because you got big buying pressure here. It's kind of going sideways, and then we're going to see the buyers come in here and push it higher, I think. There's a lot of, if you were to look at this, there's a lot of resistance in this area right in here. It's like, and you got support there, resistance here. It's right between these two little areas. You've got good support here and resistance up here. Man, this is going to be a big move when this thing goes, because it's going to break through that resistance and then there's going to be nothing above it. Goviak's looking good. Big buying pressure, small selling pressure. Buyers in control. Global Atomic, a little bit more selling pressure here on global. Could this come back a little bit? Sure. I think it'll make a higher low because we've got kind of a double bottom here. Came up, higher low, higher low. It'll look good. Centrus, a little bit more selling pressure as well. Could this pull back a little bit? It could. It looks pretty good overall. A little bit of selling pressure in Kier too. But again, I just hold on to this stuff, guys. This is the time to hold. I think it's going to be on the general trend will be higher here. And National Gazette on Prom. This one looks good too. Putting in a trend line. Let me see if I can see anything here. Coming through. It looks something like that. I kind of cut off a little bit. Yeah, maybe. Laramide, a little bit more of a sell-off here. We could pull a little bit lower, but again, I'm not doing anything with my shares. Some of these things could be false signals, money, but you know, the money, when the money trucks show up and they dump into URNM and then they buy this stuff, it's going to go higher. It really is, and I'm just holding on. I'm not going in and out, even if I get signals. Yeah, man, it's right there. It's trying to break. Let it break and make you money. Boss Energy looks good, just small little down days, nothing to worry about. Same with Peninsula Energy, small little down days. Absolutely no worries. So what I see is we're trying to break through resistance. It's getting a little sticky. When I mean by sticky, we're hitting some sellers as we're trying to proceed forward. I don't see a lot of these companies, some of them, they're getting sold off a little bit, but most of them possess small little down days. Nothing much to worry about. I think next week, if they come with dump trucks of money, like they did in the beginning of this week, we could see it take off again. So what am I doing? Not doing anything. I'm holding on to my shares. I'm watching the action from the sidelines. Click and refresh on the button for the portfolio. Just watching it go up and down. Mainly up. I mean, we've had a really strong September. I think it's going to continue probably next week if we're going to come in, because a lot of these look pretty good. I mean, there's a couple that could sell off a little bit more. Maybe we have another down day or two, but I think it looks pretty good. I'm excited for next week. I'm curious to see what happens. I don't have to go higher. I'm patient. And if we go lower, I mean, maybe we get some good buying opportunities if it does head that way. It doesn't look that way, though. Most of them look pretty strong and resilient, and it looks like we're putting in wicks at the bottom. And what the wick is you open up, it comes down, and then it gets bought back up throughout the day and closes. That wick represents buyers coming in and stepping in and buying. The momentum's heading upward, even though you had a down day. So the momentum is actually to the upside. And sometimes those prove as reversal candlesticks. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the buyers to step in next week, and let's see if we can push it higher. If not, I mean, we'll probably have a small update if they're not successful at pushing it higher. If you guys like this content, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks for watching. This is Finding Value.